ABCD channel. Myself, Ravi Kumar. Please subscribe our channel and share to your friends. In this video, I am discussing about the two-port network parameters, how the parameters will be represented in the given network. Generally, the two-port network parameters having four types, that is Z parameters, Y parameters, ABCD parameters and H parameters. In that, the first parameters we can discuss about Z parameters. Z belongs to the open circuit parameters, or these are also called as Z parameters, impedance parameters. Generally, suppose the given network on both sides, that is this one port, it is called as input port. This is called as the input port, and 2 port, it is called as output port. This side is called as input port, and other side, this is called as output ports. If the circuit consists of only one port, there is no other port, these are called the single port network. But the circuit on both sides, we have the sources, the V1 and V2. Nothing but the current can be generating, can be passing from the sources. That is called the two-port network. That is, on input side, the current is coming from V1 and going to the circuit, and from other port, the current I2 is coming from V2 voltage and passing through the circuit. Then combinations of V1 I1 and V2 I2. V1 I1 are called the voltage and current of input port, and V2 I2 are called the voltage and current of the output ports. Then generally all the network parameters you can derive, you can develop, that is in terms of four parameters, that is a V1 I1 as well as V2 I2. Then in general, how to represent the Z parameters. For example, we know what is the formula for, or what is how to represent according to Ohm's law. The impedance you can represent from V equal to Ij. That means the voltage equation is in terms of current values. Like that, in two-port networks, we have two voltages, V1 and V2. And we have two currents, I1 and I2. That means you have to develop two equations, that is V1, and second one is V2. Then how to develop V1, V2 equations, that is from V equal to Ij, then we have two currents are there. That means I1 current and plus I2 current. Similarly, I1 current plus I2 current. Then how to find out the Z parameters? That means from V equal to Ij combinations, the first parameter, that is called the Z11. That is the first row, first element. Similarly, the second one is called Z12. First row, second element. And from V2 side, we have V2 Z21. And similarly, the last element, it is called Z22. So these are called the general equations of the Z parameters. That is, in the given circuit problems also, you can derive the equations in terms of V1 and V2. All equations are in terms of to find out I1, I2. Then the coefficients of I1 and I2 compare with general equations. Then you will get the values of Z11, Z12, Z21 and Z22. Okay. Then from these equations, how to find out the Z parameters? Then all the elements you can represent in the form of matrix also. That is Z11, Z12. That is the two-port network parameters form, that is 2 by 2 matrix. Then this matrix is called the impedance matrix. Then how to find out the Z parameters? That means you have from first equation you have to find out Z11. Similarly, Z12. That is not Z1, that is Z21. Similarly, from second consideration, you have to find out Z12 and Z22. Then how to find equations here? Observe clearly the basic standard equations of Z parameters. That is, if you find out Z11, what is the ratio? V1 by I1. That means in that equation, I2 becomes 0. How in the branch current will be 0? Then it will be open circuited. That's why you can, the two port, second port will be open here. That is the first case. Then second port will be open. It is will be open. What happened? I2 equal to 0. But in open circuit parameters, we have voltage. That's why you can calculate the second voltage V2, but the second current I2 will be 0. Then, if I2 equal to 0, how to define Z11? That is V1 by I1 at I2 equal to 0. If I2 equal to 0, what is the other parameter? Z21. What is formula here? V2 by I1 at I2 equal to 0. That means you have to find out Z parameters with I2 equal to 0. In the given circuit problems also, you can bring the second current I2 equal to 0. Then you have to calculate the values of V1, or you can derive the equations of V1, V2 in terms of I1. Then find out Z11, Z21. Similarly, what is second case here? In second case, I1 equal to 0. That means the first port will be open. That means from second port, we have the source value. From that, what is the value of Z12? If I1 equal to 0, that is V1 by I2. V1 by I2 at I1 equal to 0. From similarly, Z22 is the V2 by I2 at I1 equal to 0. Here, all values are in the ratios of V by I. Then, the units of Z parameters also, that is ohms. Okay, in this way, you have to find out Z parameters from the given circuit. Then there is important formulas, important equations in gate examinations also. That is, the main condition is if the given network is called reciprocal condition. Then what is the condition here? The circuit is reciprocal. Then the condition is nothing but after finding the values of Z parameters, then Z12 equal to Z21. If this condition is satisfied, then the given network is reciprocal. And similarly, if the given network is symmetrical, that is, it satisfies the symmetrical condition when the main condition is, that is, Z11 equal to Z22. Okay, these two conditions are very most important in gate examinations. Okay, if Z12 equal to Z21, then the system is, the given circuit is reciprocal. If Z11 equal to Z22, then the given circuit is symmetrical. In university examinations also, then the problem is given, verify the system is, given circuit is reciprocal, or verify the given network is symmetrical. Then after finding parameters, you can equating all values. If the both conditions are satisfied, then the circuit is reciprocal or the circuit is symmetrical. Okay, in this way, you can find out the Z parameters. What is the second parameters? That is called the Y parameters. It is also called as short circuit parameters. Why Z parameters is called the open circuit parameters? That means on both sides, on second port and first port, the elements, the nodes to be open. That's why they are called the open circuit parameters. In the same way, the Y parameters are called the short circuit parameters or admittance parameters. What it means that here on both sides, second port or first port, the both ports will be short circuited. When the ports are short circuited, it means that we have to calculate the Y parameters of the given network. Then already we know what is the standard equation for Y, that is I equal to V by Y, V into Y. From that I equal to the Y parameters, Y equal to I by V. That means what is means that here, in order to calculate Y parameters, you can find out the ratio of current to voltage. That means the equations are, the standard equations of Y parameters are I1 and I2 in terms of V1 and V2. That is, the standard equations of Y parameters are is, you have to calculate the port currents, first port current and second port current. Okay, all currents are, you have to calculate in terms of first port voltage as well as second port voltage. Then you can define the Y parameters are I1 equal to Y11 V1 plus Y12 V2. Similarly, I2 equal to Y21 V1 plus Y22 V2. These are called the standard equations of the Y parameters. From that, then how to define, how to calculate the Y parameters for the given network. Okay. Then if you find out Y11, then we can find out the voltage V1 as well as V2. That is Y11 equal to I1 by V1 when V2 will be 0. Similarly, Y12 equal to I1 by V2 when V1 equal to 0. That means in both cases, you can short circuit the ports here. That means in the short circuit, there is no voltage at both ends. If the first case V2 equal to 0, then how to make V2 equal to 0? That is, the second port will be short circuited. In short circuited, voltage will be 0. Then, but there is a current passing through the branch. That's why how to find out the parameter Y11, that is, you must calculate I1. V1 value is given at V2 equal to 0. Similarly, when V2 equal to 0, what is the other parameter to find out? Y21, that is I2 by V1 at V2 equal to 0. In the same way, what is second condition? The first port. The first port is must be short circuited. Then value will be 0. That is the first port voltage V1 will be 0. Then what is the other condition to find out the other parameters here? That is Y12 equal to I1 by V2. That means first voltage will be 0. That means the parameters are Y12. You can find out I1 by V2 when V1 equal to 0. Similarly, the second parameter, that is Y22 I2 by V2 at V2 equal to 0. Sorry, V1 equal to 0. That is first port voltage V1 equal to 0. Like that, you can find out the Y parameters. That means when the both ports, second port as well as first port, will be short circuited, at the condition you can find out the first port current and second port current. Then you can find out the Y parameters by using the standard formulas. Then after calculating the Y parameters, then you can examine if the circuit, the given network is reciprocal or symmetrical. What is the condition here? The given network is reciprocal when the condition is nothing but that is same y12 equal to y21, and the second condition, the given network is symmetrical. The condition is same y11 equal to y22. If both conditions are satisfied, then the given circuit is reciprocal as well as the given circuit is symmetrical. Then what is the third parameters? That is ABCD parameters. These parameters are very most important. These must be calculated in transmission line problems. Then what are the standard equations of the ABCD parameters? That means in ABCD parameters, the second current will be in reverse direction. Okay, that is the value becomes minus I2. Why? Because in transmission line we have two ends, that is sending end, receiving end. That's why the current coming from sending to receiving. That's why in ABCD parameters you have to take in the current, the second port current will be in reverse direction. Then how to, what are the standard equations of ABCD parameters? You have to find out the standard equations are in terms of V1 and I1, that is input port parameters V1, I1. What is V1? Input port voltage. What is the I1? Input port current. That's why we have to find out V1 and I1 in terms of output port voltage, output port current. That is in terms of V2 and I2. Then what are the values of ABCD? That is V1 equal to A into V2 minus B into I2. Why? Because minus here I2 will be reverse direction. That's why you are taken as negative. Similarly, I1 equal to C into V2 minus D into V2. Then these are the standard equations of ABCD parameters. Then how to find out? If you want to find out A parameter, that is V1 by V2, then I2 will be 0. That means when current is 0, it will be open circuited. Then we have to find out A parameter and C parameter. The second port will be open circuited. Open circuit means the current I2 is 0. The first case, current I2 is 0. That means the second port will be open circuited. Then how to find out ABCD parameters? That is A equal to V1 by V2 at I2 equal to 0. Here the ratio are voltage to voltage ratio. That's why there are no units for ABCD parameters for A. Similarly, C. What is formula here? I1 by V2 when I2 equal to 0. Here the parameter C is ratio of current to voltage. Then the units of C is mhos, like as Y parameter. The units of Y parameters also mhos. Then what is second condition? Second case here, if you find out there are parameter B and parameter D, then you must take as V2 equal to 0. How to make voltage will be 0? It will be short circuited. Then the voltage V2 you can eliminate. Then the second port will be short circuited. You make short circuited, then V2 equal to 0. Then how to find parameter? the second parameter B and the third parameter D. From the equation, observe equation here, B equal to V1 by I2. That is B equal to V1 by I2 when V2 equal to 0. Nothing but minus will be appear. And D2 equal to, that is I1 by I2 when V2 equal to 0. Observe here, the parameter B also ratio is V1 by I2. That is voltage to current. Then the units of parameter B is ohms. Similarly, the parameter D, that is ratio of current to current. That's why there are no units for parameter D. Okay, like that, we have to find out first port, the first case, second port will be open circuited, and in second case, second port will be short circuited. Then we have to find out A parameter, B, C, D parameters like that. Then after finding A, B, C, D parameters also, then what is the condition here? Also, you can take a minus also. Why? Because the equation is in terms of minus. That's why you can bring parameter BD also in terms of minus here. Then after that, after finding ABCD parameters here, the most important formulas to find out the condition, that means the given network is reciprocal and the given network is symmetrical. These reciprocal and symmetrical conditions both are very most important in GATE examinations. Then the condition for reciprocal in terms of ABCD parameters is, that is AD minus BC equal to 1. Similarly, for symmetrical, the condition is A equal to D. Then these are the both conditions. You have to verify the given circuit is reciprocal as well as symmetrical. Then the last parameter for two-port network is H parameters. The H parameters is also called as hybrid parameters. Why? Because the H parameters are, you have to calculate it, the H parameters are, you have to calculate, that is from input voltage as well as second equation is from output current. That means one equation is voltage and the second equation is for current. That means the standard equations for H parameters are, that is V1 and the second one is I2. Then what about V1 equation here? That is, you can calculate in terms of I1 plus in terms of V2. I2 also in terms of I1 plus in terms of V2. Then you can represent the H parameters are H11, that is V1 equal to H11 I1 plus H12 V2. Then I2 equal to H21 I1 plus H22 V2. Okay. Then how to find out H11 V1 by I1 when V2 will be 0? How V2 will be 0? That is to bring short circuit second port. Similarly, H12 equal to V1 by V2 when I1 will be 0. When current will be 0, first port, I1 must be first port. Then first port will be open circuited. Then in both cases, you have to find out the H parameters. That means the first case is second port will be short circuited. There is no V2 voltage here. Second port is short circuited. To bring V2 value is 0. Similarly, the second case, first port will be 0. That is I1 will be 0. It will be open circuited. Then what is the equations of in first case? Second port will be 0. H11 and H21. Second case, you have to calculate H12 as well as H22. 2, 2. Then what is the formula for H11? That is V1 by I1 when V2 equal to 0. H21 is I2 by I1 when V2 equal to 0. Then similarly H12 when I1 will be 0, that is V1 by V2 V1 by V2 when I1 will be 0. Similarly, we have to find out I2 by V2 when I1 will be 0. Like that, we have to calculate H parameters. Then observe the parameters here. H11 is the ratio of voltage to current. That's why it is the units of H11 will be ohms. H21 no units, ratio of current to current. Similarly, H12 also no units, ratio of voltage to voltage. But the units of H22 is the most. Why? Because it is the ratio of current to voltage. Then the units for H22 is most. Then like that, for the given circuit, based on the standard equations of H parameters, you have to calculate the required H11, H12, H21, H22. Then after calculating all the parameters for the given network problem, you must represent the parameters in matrix form compulsory. Okay. Then after finding H parameters, what are the main conditions for reciprocal and symmetrical? That is, if the network is reciprocal and if the network is symmetrical, then what are the conditions for reciprocal and symmetrical? That is, if the given network is reciprocal for H parameters, then the condition is H12 equal to minus H21, and it is symmetrical. The main condition is H11 into H22 minus H12 into H21 equal to 1. Okay, these are the main conditions for H parameters to verify the given network is reciprocal as well as symmetrical. Please subscribe our channel and share to your friends.